Hi CC parents, welcome to the week 8 recap video. Today we started in geography like usual. I've kind of found a routine where we go through the same order every week. So as usual geography, but I did change the order of the Indus River Valley. So I should have brought them out here. I had little googly eyes of different sizes that I just found in my bookshelf. And I was like, oh, okay, because we tend to like to take something on an adventure, whether it was our little emoji smiley faces or the little horse buttons that we have. So today we had googly eyes. I had one on each finger. And they took their googly eyes on a tour of the Indus River Valley. So we started with the Bay of Bengal and then went around the bottom of India to the Arabian Sea, and then we jumped up onto the Great Indian Desert, and then we swam through the Ganges River and hiked up the Himalayas, and then from there we were looking at the whole Indus River Valley, and then we hiked, back down the Himalayas through the river. So that was the order that we did our geography in. Then today, so week 2, English was second, and so we did our prepositions, and so this week I'll do left-handed. Of, so we made it O-F, so of, and then off was like, you pull it off. So of, off, on, and then on to, we slap onto our knees, and then out, like you're out of here. So then I backed up and we did last week's, in, inside, into, like, near, and then straight from near to of. I did that backwards. Of, off, on. I just forgot. Oh yeah, on to, and then out. English, it's funny. That's been by far their favorite. I think this we're on week 8 now, and every week since we started the prepositions with the hand gestures, they really love that. So that was an easy one to keep them engaged on. For math, skip counting the 14s. We listened to the song and went through it with the pointer, and then I erased 2 numbers, and then as the song repeated the second, so that was the second time we heard it, I erased 2 numbers, and the third time I erased another number, and then the fourth time I erased another. And they did good. They did well. Latin, which was, again, this is the second time we've done the various E-M-A. So I had them turn to the person beside them, and they did like high fives to each other. Various E-M-A. And they would go back and forth. And I was also going to share, and in review, typically I tend to, now I'm saying, like with first declension, we'll do first declension and we'll sing through them that way, and then when for singular, and then we do plural, I'll put up a second hand like a number 1, and then with second declension, singular and plural, and third declension, singular and plural, just to have some kind of visual tie, kinesthetic thing kind of tied in with those songs to help us kind of remember the plural, the singular and the plural, and then which declension we're on. So high fives, that was pretty simple. And the good thing about that, since it's so short and it goes through it, you say it 3 times, and then 3 times, you only really have to do the song twice, and you've pretty much got your repetitions in. So from geography, English, math, and then across Latin, science. This one was also super simple because there was only 3. What are some types of seed plants? So we did monocot, dicot, and conifer. And they were like Christmas tree, because I told them at first, like, like a cone, like a Christmas tree, a conifer. And they were like, monocot, dicot, and Christmas tree. Conifers. So we just went through that a few times. And then we went on to Age of Imperialism with history. So I did a few hand gestures that went along with, during the Age of Imperialism, the British established rule over India in 1858, and Queen Victoria was declared Empress of India in 1877. And then before his assassination in 1948, Mohandas Gandhi led the passive movement, which helped win India's independence. And they liked that song. It's a long sentence to remember, so we just sang it along, and it went well. Timeline, we did the Council of Nicaea. It was quite funny. I explained kind of where it came from, you know, that they had this the council, they came together and they discussed the triune nature of God and how it was Father, Son, Holy Spirit were all three in one. It was like, you know, they're the three people, Father, Son, Holy Spirit in one person. They were like, oh, I'm like, I know. So we did the three in one. And then Augustine did the A, and then of Hippo, which was a lot of changes. It was a time of change, so that was what that was. And then Jerome completes the Vulgate, the J, and then we just hold the book. And then Visigoths, sack, like they're taking all the stuff, robe. And then the Middle Ages, I just kind of, the Middle Ages, circa 450 to circa 1500. I'm sure that's not proper, but that's what we do. 1500. And then the Council of Chalcedon, it talked about Jesus and the nature of Jesus. And then Western Roman Empire falls to barbarians. I'm going to make them hulk it up. So, new grammar. That was it in a nutshell. We went straight into the tin whistle, and today was dynamics, was our skill set. So that's on page 92 and 93 in your foundations guide. Essentially what I did today was drew it on the whiteboard and put the P and an F, and we talked about, you know, piano and forte and what those words mean, and then added a P, which was even softer, pianissimo, and then an extra F was fortissimo, and we had to say it in our Italian fortissimo accent, because you had to say that with, you know, gusto when you say fortissimo. Then we talked about mezzo, like mezzo piano is a little quiet, and mezzo forte is a little loud. And then we sang John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. I have to, if y'all ever watch Mrs. C's videos on YouTube, I watch her and get a lot of ideas from her. She's great. And she had said that that was a song that she used because it had a lot of variation and dynamics. So we sang through that. And then I drew the crescendo and decrescendo, and so we sang it, and they were watching me the whole time as I went, you know, crescendo, and we'd get louder, and then we'd decrescendo and get softer. And we sang through that several times. And then we reviewed our tin whistle, the diagram, the parts, the anatomy of the tin whistle, we reviewed that. And then we reviewed proper hand position, and we all worked on covering the finger holes on the low D, and we talked about dynamics with piano, and especially in those lower notes that we really need to play with piano to keep any kind of a decent, clear sound. We talked about distortion. That was a fun buzzword today, distortion, and a full range of dynamics. And so we practiced different notes, a few different notes, to see if we could play with different dynamics at different notes, and how it was easier to play louder the higher that it was, and the lower it was, the softer we needed to play. So that was that. Presentation, to talk about flies. We talked about gestures, having appropriate gestures, and I gave them some examples of that. Had a good little conversation about gestures, and then we talked about using our attending skills. Every week we repeat how we have good attending skills as audience members, and one of them said that they like to do, I had a hard time generally they don't want to clap at the end, they just sit there, you know, at the end of each person, and so the adults are the only ones clapping. And so one of them said, I like when we clap in a circle. So they all clapped once we started clapping in a circle, or we clapped in and out, or we clapped side to side, or I can't remember. But once we started doing fun claps, then they all participated in clapping to express appreciation. And then we did parts of a flower. And so we were able to talk about some of our, it really worked out well. We had to switch weeks. We went to week 11 because of, we couldn't do the nature walk today with the rain. So we did week 11, and it worked really well today because we talked about monocots, dicots, and conifers. And so we were able to dissect the flower and talk about the anatomy of a flower. And so they each child did one, and they learned, we took about the different parts and learned all about them, and then taped them to the paper. And it was cool to kind of tie in the types of seed plants and then actually see it in person. I think, and then review. I didn't do anything fancy today. I guess it wasn't even stick and sand. It was literally just going subjects, doing hunks of subjects at a time, and we sang songs, and I would do a few different things like accents for When we do science, they like to do those call and response in accents. For math, we tend to do something physical, as far as jumping or spinning or whatever we do. And then we did our history songs, and so they remembered, we reviewed all of the hand gestures that we learned. Actually, we don't even know if, yeah, we did. We got to review all of our history songs today. So really stick and say, and then of course their favorite was to do the preposition song from beginning to end, well, beginning to week 8. So that's fun. I think that's it for today. I hope y'all have a great weekend, and that sounds like a dinosaur over there. Y'all let me know if you need anything or have any questions. Bye.